Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. During a recent TV interview related to his book, Charles III, New King, New Court, The Inside Story, author Robert Hardman hinted at undisclosed details surrounding the day Queen Elizabeth died, indicating his intention to approach the matter with sensitivity. Speaking to Camilla Tominey on GB News, Hardman explained, "I wanted to do it as sensitively as possible. There are other aspects of that day that I haven't reported on. I don't know the full extent, and I don't think it's appropriate that it should come out." Hardman also disclosed that after Sir Edward Young, the former private secretary of the late Queen, penned a note about her passing, a footman brought a locked red box that had been found at her deathbed. This box contained a sealed letter addressed to King Charles. Hardman explains, "The other thing that absolutely sent shivers down my spine was when I heard about her final red box. She had received a red box every single day of her life. As Queen, she was only granted 2 days off, her birthday and Christmas Day. Apart from that, the red box was delivered daily, filled with papers and matters to be attended to. At the very end, she opened her last red box. We'll probably never know what was in it, and I understand that. I think there was certainly a sense in those last few days she wanted to get the country back on its feet. That's why she was so keen to be on her feet and looking the part for that last photograph. All summer, there hadn't been really a government to speak of. She wanted to appoint Liz Truss and get that done. Obviously, that involved accepting the resignation of Boris Johnson. She was very buoyed up, having done that. There was a weight off her mind." Meghan Markle had no intention of shouldering her responsibilities as a working member of the royal family before her and Prince Harry's decision to step back from their royal duties and relocate to the United States, according to claims by royal historian Hugo Vickers. Vickers asserts that the Duchess of Sussex had a predetermined agenda that did not involve being an actively engaged and hardworking member of the royal household. As reported by The Mirror, critics of Prince Harry and Meghan have expressed their opinions in light of recent developments, including the news of the Princess of Wales undergoing abdominal surgery and King Charles preparing for surgery to address an enlarged prostate. Some have called on Harry to step up and assist the royal family during this time, while others have suggested that he now has an opportunity to make a significant contribution, given that 3 senior royals are temporarily reducing their public duties. Royal expert Robert Jobson has also hinted that Harry could have been of considerable assistance had he and Meghan not stepped away from their royal roles in 2020. Mr. Vickers offered his perspective, stating, "Meghan Markle had no intention of fulfilling her responsibilities. It appears she had a predetermined plan from the outset that did not include being a dedicated and hardworking, supportive member of the royal family. Harry had a good relationship with his family before marriage, but afterwards, I rest my case." In The Observer, Martha Gill writes, "How do you solve a problem like Andrew? Charles' solution lies in his ambition to slim down the monarchy, relieving aunts, siblings and cousins of public titles, duties and money. There are 2 aims here. First, to make the family cheaper and therefore more popular, and second, to reduce the surface area from which troublesome relatives can spring. The first is fine, but the second will fail. Indeed, it is already failing. Does it need spelling out? A hereditary monarchy can't pick and choose its members. A close relative of the monarch will always be seen as a royal. No matter how much officialism you strip away or how carefully you rework their titles, Prince Andrew, like the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, will continue to be a member of the family, and so will always be capable of bringing it into disrepute. When it comes to Andrew, the liability is not his title but his fame, and that isn't going to go away. The family like to call themselves the firm, as if they are in business, but it's sort of business where you can't sack anyone, no matter how many 17-year-old sexual assault victims complain to HR. In fact, the plan to pare the royal fat may backfire. Removing royal duties and protections from badly behaved relatives rather takes the shackles off, giving them time, freedom, and more importantly, the financial incentive to make their way in the world by other means. Harry and Meghan would not need to build embarrassing broadcasting careers if their time were taken up with visiting jam factories and opening provincial shopping centres. Is allowing minor royals to live as rich celebrities, even without public stipends, their inherited wealth is enormous, really the solution? Since Andrew was always going to be rich, famous, and disgraced, perhaps a more fitting punishment would be to stuff his calendar with dull but worthy activities, the equivalent of a long stint of community service, which indeed royal life is supposed to be. Litter picking, perhaps, or attending royal variety shows. If Charles were really committed to tradition, he'd have another sort of answer to the Andrew problem. In the last couple of 100 years, the monarchy has gone rather soft. Think of George VI, who allowed his Nazi-sympathizing elder brother, the Duke of Windsor, to spend the Second World War as governor of the Bahamas. How to get rid of troublesome siblings? In the long history for which the family now serves as a nostalgic talisman, the answer was often more straightforward. Gill then gets into some historical events of the violent kind that we're not going to get into. You can use your imagination. A source told The Sun, Andrew has been in a terrible mood and more grumpy than usual, but it has nothing to do with the unsealed court files. It's because he is on a special diet. He hates it, and it makes him irritable. Palace Intrigue will be right back. Steve from Staffordshire sent in a note about the way we commonly refer to Catherine, the Princess of Wales. Steve encouraged us to use her proper title, pointing out that if people stop using the casual Kate Middleton, then over time, something along the lines of Princess Catherine would be the norm. Thanks, Steve. We appreciate all your thoughts and comments. As much as we love our UK audience, the show is mainly geared towards an American audience, which tends to be much more conversational and informal. So we do the show for Americans. If you out of nowhere said Kate to an American, they would know who you mean. The same with Meghan. And if you say the Queen, 100% of Americans will assume you are still referring to Elizabeth. So we tend to refer to our politicians the same way we say Trump or Biden or Hillary. We don't even use the term president or ex-president or former president. It's just a much more conversational form of journalism. The same way with our TV hosts, it's Fallon versus The Tonight Show. And our writer, John, usually just says Charles. In copy and conversation and trying to keep this show fun and entertaining and somewhat informal and, with a little bit of snark, it's just easier to say Kate than the full title. American publications like People and Vanity Fair also use Kate Middleton in their very search engine optimized friendly headlines. And that's how she's known here. So thank you. We do appreciate your contributions. And if you have comments or thoughts about the way we refer to anybody in the show or how I probably mispronounce half of the Dutch royals as well, please feel free to send us a note at thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. We also got a review from Jennifer in Berkeley who wrote, "Total nonsense, trying to act unbiased but dripping in snarky disdain for Harry and Meghan. 1 star. Thanks, Jennifer. King Harald of Norway, I'm going to assume it was Harald, has reaffirmed his decision not to abdicate the throne in favour of his son, Crown Prince Haakon, and intends to remain king until his death. This statement comes in the wake of Queen Margrethe of Denmark's surprising abdication announcement. Despite recent health issues and concerns about his ability to fulfil his duties, King Harald has remained steadfast in his commitment to his role. In his first public appearance since Queen Margrethe's abdication on January 14th, King Harald stated to the Norwegian press on January 23rd, "I stand by what I have always said, namely that I took an oath before the Norwegian Parliament and that it remains valid for life." At 86 years old, King Harald has faced health challenges, including a heart procedure and various illnesses that have necessitated temporary breaks from his royal duties. He ascended to the throne in January 91, following the death of his father, King Olav, as the oldest reigning monarch in Europe. King Harald is set to celebrate his 87th birthday on February 21st. And there you have it. Please follow us on Apple, Spotify, or your app of choice. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue, and good times.